First of all, let me thank GMA for hosting this. It's a tremendous opportunity to speak with local governments, and it's one of the issues that we as an organization always have with so many counties and local governments to try to get to, and DOAS being such a small organization, it's always a big effort for us to get out. So any opportunity we can have to share information through opportunities like this is tremendous for us. So again, thank you. Secondly, thanks to all of the participants. Let me echo Pam's sentiments. Please, please, please feel free to share any information with your counterparts in your government or other folks that you deal with across the state. We'd appreciate you help spreading the word and be evangelists for us, because we all really believe in the programs that we operate here, and hope you'll find the benefit in them. On to surplus property, a little history. Before 2008, some of you may remember we used to have 3 warehouses, one in Americus, one in Swainsboro, and a large one up here in Atlanta. In 2008, we moved to a virtual business model. It simply didn't make sense to keep transporting property. We would basically pay 10 or 12 bucks to move a desk for us to sell it for 5, and it's just not a great business model to work with. So in 2008, we closed all of our warehouses and we went to a virtual or direct distribution model. And that's one of the things that we'd like to talk about today, is how you as local governments can participate in state and federal surplus. First of all, if you hit the right button, there are eligibility requirements. All local governments are eligible, but you must be enrolled in the program, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, part of the enrollment besides the application is a designated selector list. That list is important because it tells us who in the government is eligible to obligate funds. So that whoever is going to be participating in the program has to be somebody that can obligate funds for your organization. Some of the other stuff that you'll send us is a non-discrimination assurance. We'll need a charter or a copy of the legislation that you established you, and there might be some other documents. But essentially, all local governments in Georgia are already enrolled, unless you're one of the brand new guys that just got stood up in the last year or so. The line that you see there that says maybe centralized or decentralized, we really want to make the experience what fits your business model best. If you would like, as an organization, let's say you're a county, and you would like your police department or your sheriff's office and your public works or rec department to all be separate entities within surplus, we're happy to set you all up as decentralized and work with each one of your departments individually. If you'd like to have a little bit more control and you want everything to go through your board of commissioners, we can set you up as one organization and then give each of those groups authority to operate under one group. So it really is designed to be what's best for you. Just so that there's no surprises, just like there's no such thing as a free puppy, there's always a service charge when you're getting surplus property through either the federal or the state program. Now, our job is to be revenue neutral, but since we're not appropriated, those service charges are what actually fund our ability to offer this service. We accept P cards, POs, and an entity check for that, and you'll always know what those charges are before you ever even have to look at the property. The other thing is there's always restrictions on every transaction that we do in either federal and state. It's a conditional transfer of title for the assets, which means once the restrictions are met, then you get full title. They're, for the most part, really easy restrictions. You have to put the property into use within 1 year and use it for 1 year before you can sell. During that period, you can't trade, sell, cannibalize anything with the asset without getting permission from us. And of course, the whole purpose of that was if we wanted to sell the property and put the funds into the state, we would have done that. So we don't want folks just taking property and selling it to fund operations. It's not the intent of the program. There's also weekly emails available for both federal and state programs, and if you contact our office, we'll be more than happy to set you up on all of those. As I said, we closed our state warehouses back in 2008, so now we call it a virtual disposal model. The property actually stays at the custodian agency in your community. So if you have a state college or technical college in your area, that property is going to be disposed of at that facility. So that's why we encourage you to get to know your state neighbors. One of the disposal methods that we prefer to use is called a direct negotiated sale. And that's when we're able to take state property and move it directly to a local government at a fixed price. It's the most economical way to move property, and it keeps the property moving down in the tax base where it is. So we certainly like to do that as much as we can. In order to view that property, if you go to our website, and we gave you the nice long one there. I asked for a longer one, and for some reason IT wouldn't give me a longer website than that link that you see there on the screen. But also, if you go to our website, which is surplusproperty.doas.ga.gov, and click on the property tab, you can get this link there also. Now, folks, property changes daily because the state agencies are sending us property for disposal every day, but generally we keep it on that website for 5 days. So if you get yourself in the habit of looking at our website just once a week, you should see most of the assets that are going through. The other thing you can do is give us a call or drop us an email and ask us to put something on the want list for you. We have a big dry erase board up here in the office, and when someone calls in and says, hey, we're looking for fill in the blank, we put it up on the wall with the contact, and during our weekly meetings, we also talk about all of those to make sure all of the folks that process the surplus are looking for those for you. And as you can see, the website there, surplusproperty.doas.ga.gov, is right there for you. Federal Surplus is another program that is wholly underutilized in Georgia, and we'd really like all of our local governments to be aware and use this program. Just like we process all of our property on our website, the federal government processes all of its surplus on GSA Access. Now, we can't possibly screen GSA Access. There's literally hundreds of thousands of pieces of property on there at any given time. The email that we send out each week is some of the stuff that we found that we think you might be interested in, but we certainly can't know and search for everything, so we encourage you to search on it. If you go to gsaaccess.gov and use the login 4757GA and the password GA surplus, you'll be able to screen for any property by commodity, by state. You can actually even get down in an advanced search to a specific unit. So if you only want to see the property that's available at Warner Robins, say, you can screen directly for a site. When you find information or find a piece of property that you'd like us to try to acquire, you would send an email to DOAS Fed Sir, that link right there, and give us the item control number. That will tell us what you're looking for. At that point, Lisa Magazi, who's our federal surplus clerk, will talk to you about the service charge for that and also let you know about other allocation issues with it. We actually have to request the property from GSA, and as long as we're not in competition for some really great piece of property and it gets allocated to us, we'll send you a pickup authorization letter. That property has to be removed from the federal site within 14 days. And again, the restrictions apply. The federal restrictions are a little bit different. The biggest ones that you may see is if we were able to get a boat over 50 feet or an aircraft and weapons, there are certain other restriction periods. But essentially, boat and aircraft are 5-year restrictions, and weapons are in perpetuity. When we transfer weapons to a local law enforcement entity, title to those weapons never changes. When you're finished with them, they're returned back to us and we give them back to the federal government or destroy them. So, but there's always restrictions. couple of quick screening tips if you're looking on the GSA website. Be sure to check the location that's listed there. Remember, properties available worldwide, so you need to be careful where you're searching. Also, narrow down the category by item, state. Don't just do a generic search. You can do a nomenclature search, but unfortunately, depending on how the field techs and the federal side put it in, you might have a more difficult time tracking down an item. We were just allocated an item today that was listed as garden equipment, and turns out it was a double batwing mower, the kind you see going down the middle of the highways, but it was listed as gardening equipment. So just be wary of what you're looking for there. Also, when you're working in the federal site, don't use your back arrow. Use the back button at the top right of each screen. If you use your back arrow, it'll log you out and get you very frustrated very quickly. The contacts for our office, if you have questions about eligibility, call Carmen Soto Saladin or email her. Our state surplus property supervisor is Patricia Bebley. She can help you find assets all over the state. Our federal program specialist is Lisa Mogazi with her email address and phone number. But if you just want to call the general office number at 404-657-8544, anybody from the staff should be able to either help you directly or get you to the right person. I guess just one word of warning when you're talking surplus property, folks, please remember there's a reason it's been sent to us. I mean, while there certainly is very usable, valuable property available, we really want you to be careful and make sure you go inspect property before you accept it, because we don't want you to be hampered with something that isn't going to help you in your operations. I think we're ready for questions.
Is the main number the number you call for getting on the email list, Steve?
Yes, ma'am. The number that's posted right now, 657-8544. We'll be happy to add you.
Do you still use GovDeals in some other areas?
Yes, the way when we offer property for redistribution, we try to do that for 5 days, and if no one wants it within that period, then we make it available to the public for sale through either GovDeals, eBay, or Public Surplus. We actually sell on 3 different sites. And again, if you go to our website and on that one click the auctions tab, we have links to all of those sites with our property that's listed there. One of the questions folks ask us is, if we set a price for a local government, let's say a car from GBI, and we say it's $1,200, some folks may think that's exorbitant and not want to pay it, and then they see it go for sale on one of those sites for, say, $900. That does happen. There's no way we can actually get around that. The law requires us to sell property by fair market value. So when we do that, when we're trying to calculate what we think the fair market value is on an item, in the case of a vehicle, we take NADA or KBB, some other statistics in what we've sold vehicles for in the past, and try to come up with a number to make it available. But the law also requires us to sell to the highest bidder. So sometimes you'll see that property out there where we're asking one value, but then weeks later you'll see it go for less, and that's exactly what happens. So for local governments that say they'll take their chance doing it on the buying side, that's certainly their prerogative. But we're also certainly willing to talk to folks about our pricing at any time to make it available during the redistribution period.
Thank you, Steve. That's a lot of good information for our government.